Ladies and gentlemen of the old world, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the showdown between the Empire and Skaven here on the Creeping Swamp. It's going to be myself with VOLKMAR the Grim, taking it back to Warhammer 2, facing off against Boss Toss, who's going to be using Big Stinky on the Rat. So, of course, throughout the Unclean, going to be coming in on his Brood Horror, which actually became a bit of a decent pick against VOLKMAR, right? He has good mass, 95 speed, isn't going to take much damage against VOLKMAR's Chariot, so that is very, very scary indeed. But VOLKMAR did get some nice buffs a couple patches ago. I think it was 2 patches ago. He used to have like 230 weapon strength, which was an absolute joke on his War Altar, but now he has 400, so that certainly gives him a lot more damage potential, and I'm quite curious to see how he does here. So for my build, it's going to be a big State Trooper wall. So we got Spearmen and Swordsmen, just the classic combination of infantry to hold back the rats. And we're going to be using a long rifle build. So we're going to be hunting some stinky rats. And long rifles, in theory, should do good here. With a lot of State Troopers to protect them and Empire Heavy Cav, they can shoot down Ogres. They can shoot down Storm Vermin. Probably can have, I think they have similar range to Jezzails, if not like almost the exact same. But the Natty Boobos, of course, do have the stealth advantage. So you got to watch out for that. But yeah, it's time for ROLLIN to get some hunting going, and a Burning Headcaster. You never leave home when you're facing Skaven without Burning Head. It's just so damn good against them. So for the army of Boss Toss here, pretty cool force. He's got a couple Night Runners up in the Vanguard throughout the Unclean, going to be extra stinky. And for his main battle line, it's going to be Skaven Slaves, Natty Boobos, who do have 275, and I think the ROLLIN long rifles have 265, or is it the exact same? Let's see. All right, we're going to go check this real quick, and it's 260, yeah, so a little bit less range than the Skaven ones. Slingers in the back, and Plague Monks. Plague Monks are actually kind of cool in this matchup, very vulnerable against heavy cav charges and Burning Head, but if your opponent is really presenting mostly State Troopers, I mean, Plague Monks uptraded into those things. Well, not even uptrade, they're more expensive, but they trade very, very well into State Troopers and cut them to shreds pretty damn well. So that's going to be it for the Rat Army, and he's going to be grabbing Objective 3 out of the gates, while VOLKMAR the Grim going to be leading the Sigmarite army into position here. So throughout the Unclean, just kind of trolling around my lines. He obviously looks like he wants to come in and try and do a Rat Ogre summon. Now, this is something I used to do when I used Throt quite a bit. But those Rat Ogres do get folded up pretty quickly by heavy cav if they're, in an enemy backfield unsupported. So we're going to see if he drops it here as he is moving in. Played this game a little while ago, so I can't quite remember, but here comes Throt. Yeah, so Throt does move in there, and he does get the Rat Ogre summon and takes a little bit of damage in the process, but the ROLLIN long rifles do not stand alone. They have the Knights of the Blazing Sun charging in, and these filthy Ogres are going to be taken to Pound Town. They're going to take a ton of damage right there, immediately start to fold up, and the other 2 ROLLIN long rifles going to be putting some nice fire support down on Throt the Unclean, and the State Trooper lines have now formed ranks as Sigmar's Sons, the elite swordsmen of the Empire, the ROR Unbreakable, going to be grabbing Objective 1. So now, the game plan is very clear. I just hold this side objective, and I fight over Objective 2, and maybe even eventually 3 if things go well. Rat Ogre Summon was bunker busted in the back, and VOLKMAR the Chad is going to be dropping a banishment here. So here he comes, burning through the witches, and that's going to be a good one there. Going to be melting the rats. Feel the holy wrath of Sigmar as he rolls on his sled, inspiring the troops there. And that is able to cook some Plague Monks, but honestly not as much as I thought, although the Skaven Slaves look like they took the brunt of it. ROLLIN long rifles going to be training their firepower onto the Plague Monks. It's obviously a big issue. Meanwhile, on the other side, Big Burning Head going down does manage to cook the Plague Monks here. So a couple good AoEs on the elite, I guess, air quotes, elite Skaven troops. But so far, the Skaven pressure is still underway. So VOLKMAR going to be using his Soulfire Bombardment. It's pretty good. Does good damage here. The Grand Soulfire is able to melt that infantry unit there. Free Company Militia called out of the Vanguard to reinforce the troopers here as the Spearmen do hold ranks. Swordsmen are going to be battling the Plague Monks in the front. And his Slingers are pretty much online here, while the Natty Boobo Sharpshooters, I'm not sure what they're shooting yet. Looks like he has them hidden, but hasn't given them an order quite yet. I don't think they've shot any shots. They have no value, so I would assume they're going to be scooting up. They're probably trying to get my ROLLIN long rifles. So VOLKMAR a little bit trapped up here. Throt the Unclean does take a lot of damage, so he's going to need to kind of pull back and heal. Those guns from the ROLLIN long rifles were able to get some work done. And now the Jezzails are going to be focus firing my sniper. So it is a sniper duel, but unfortunately his do have the range advantage and are extra sneaky back there with their snipe and whatnot. VOLKMAR doing a little bit of work in the front, providing some support to the Spearmen, with the Plague Monks effectively dealing with them. A couple Ogres look to be trying to push into the secondary battle lines, but the Knights of the Blazing Sun are going to be couching their lances for Meridia? Yeah, I mean, Sigmar in this case, I mean, come on. Whatever. They can figure it out. Maybe they're a special Knights of the Blazing Sun who've kind of converted to Sigmar. We'll just roleplay that for now. But Volkmar does cause terror, which is great. So he's going to be terror routing these rat ogres and a multitude of the other units. On the side, objective 1 is under our control, and the rats looks like they're going to be sending some night runners over there, but the swordsman should be able to deal with them. Another burning head going down there does cook some of the plague monks here. Meanwhile, there is going to be an Eshin Ninja Star coming in. So the Eshin sorcerers have been making a big appearance lately. Their magic missile spam is very cost effective, and here are the Hakon long rifles getting the business from these Skaven snipers, which feels pretty bad. I mean, they're hanging in there, and their value so far is about 600, which isn't a terrible performance for them. The other Hakon long rifles are a little bit deep set, but I can't quite get vision here on the natty boobos, which feels bad. Skaven did overextend a little bit in my backfield here, and the rat ogres as well as the Skaven slaves do feel the wrath of Sigmar's heavy cav, as the Empire Knights and the Knights of the Blazing Sun and the Free Company Militia able to overwhelm the Skaven advance. So this is our time to push. We do have a value lead of 3.8 against 2.9. We both have healing. Volkmar heals and Throt heals, but he has benefited more from healing. So probably we're kind of close on value, all things considered. Maybe I'm ahead by like 200 or 300, but Throt has been getting a lot of healing there, which has been pretty dodgy. So middle objective is owned by Skaven. Going to be doing my best to get this as the State Troopers do move up, and the swordsmen more spearmen on the way. Hakon long rifles in the back just trying to shoot rat ogres wherever they can. Now we're going to be surging in pretty aggressively. Unfortunately, though, the Rat Ogres do get the charge of my Empire Knights, and Throt is going to be an excellent fighter here. His armor piercing and his poison attacks are going to be very nasty, and many of the Knights of Sigmar will be falling before the pestilent maw here of Throt the Unclean. Creature Killer active, really, really nice. That's going to be giving the Ogres an anti-large bonus there, which is super valuable. Skaven with a little bit of pressure in the backfield. They still have some rallying units. The Volkmar doing his best to keep these filthy rats in check. He's going to be rolling through and swing. It's so haggard how he like swings his hammer as if he's going to hit anything from up there. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. He does get it done. And you know, that would be really cool if the Empire could bring War Altars of Sigmar as a non-hero unit, right? Because in tabletop, the Empire can actually bring a War Altar of Sigmar without a character mounted on it. So basically there's just like a generic warrior priest on there with no abilities, and you could use it as like, you know, kind of like an Iron Demon equivalent that would have like an Empire War Shrine type thing going on. I think that would be a super cool addition and probably be super easy to implement, right? So, objectives 1 belong to us, Sons of Sigmar. Objective 2 is going to be flipping right now. A couple of the Knights of the Blazing Sun do extend a little bit too deeply. I did get a burning head on the Natty Boobos, but sadly we weren't able to finish them. They've been an absolute menace this entire game. Another really, really good Eshin Sorcerer Ninja Star. Looking at the value of the Eshin Sorcerer, about 700 so far, so he certainly paid for himself. The magic is doing great. Now I'm going to be doing some housekeeping, unsummoning some of the State Troopers so I don't run out in the late game. Volkmar a little bit trapped up by the Rat Ogres, but the Hakon Long Rifles in tandem with the Empire Knights should be able to drag them down, and they do get taken to Pound Town here, while more State Troopers are going to be surging forward. Hakon Long Rifles looking for more targets, but Ogres are in my backfield a little bit. These Empire Knights very, very busy, because Skaven, you know, they do have a natural ability to scurry away, so they get a speed bonus when they're routing, and then when they come back, it's going to be extra scary. So Skaven slaves get run down. Ogres moving into the secondary. I call in a fresh Hakon Long Rifle, because honestly, they've been performing very well. One of the weaknesses of my build is dealing with like Rat Ogre type units. Obviously, Volkmar isn't going to be very effective compared to like a Boris Todbringer there, although he's going to be a little bit more stalwart for sure. But yeah, the Hakon Long Rifles are there mainly to deal with Ogres, so hopefully these heavy cav will be able to peel these Ogres down here. And now the Skaven going to be sending some elite troops here. So the Storm Vermin do arrive, and so begins the second phase of the battle, which is probably dead even on value. 6.9 against 6.3 with Throt's healing. He's for sure dead even with me here. So incredibly close game, and a lot of anti-large going to be coming in, but this is where Volkmar can shine for sure. He's really, really good against infantry, and does have banishment and soulfire bombardment, and he's going to be banishing a lot of these Storm Vermin back to the Great Horn Rat here as they get tossed up by that banishment. A lot of HP damage on the Storm Vermin, and a Grand Soulfire Bombardment as well is going to be clutching this middle objective pretty damn hard. I mean, that is value city. The amount of damage that Volkmar just did there, super good. I mean, Boris Todbringer for sure would not have done that. Volkmar setting at about 1,700 value, so pretty close to paying for himself. With the kit I brought, he cost, I believe, 2,100 gold, so very much in the ballpark. But now my opponent is realizing how badly Throt can bully Volkmar, and he is going to be chasing me. So Volkmar is going to be fleeing and not wanting any of this smoke. As he is afflicted by poison, his speed is going to be 37. Flagellants get wrecked really, really badly there, so that certainly sucked. But nonetheless, they're going to be moving up in the point. And what the hell was that? Was that one of the Eshin Ninja Stars? Man, so many weird little abilities in this game are just so freaking good. State Troopers fighting valiantly here, trying to get this point, but my heavy cav are going to start faltering now. They're getting trapped up in the bricks of Skaven, and the Storm Vermin with the halberds are going to be able to take them down very quickly. We do see the Empire Knights getting taken apart, and escaping with them is very difficult here, so I figured let's leave them there for a little bit longer, maybe see if they can get a break on the Natty Boo sharpshooters, but the Storm Vermin were able to get the job done, and once again, we continue fighting the good fight. So objective 2 is going to be taken by us most likely. We do have a couple state troopers there, flagellants, 2 free company militia coming out, and that's going to be a big old juicy burning head right there, depending on which way it goes. And it does go the right way. He's able to cook some of the storm vermin, maybe getting a break on the plague monks. Leadership is going to be at 8, so very, very low there. Meanwhile, in the backfield, swordsmen coming up. So now it's time for the full court press. Normally, I would just want to play 2 objectives, but I felt as if there had been a big momentum shift. The Skaven army was looking a little bit raggedy. We had the 2 free company militia here dealing with the wolf rats, and I'm hoping I can just push off just a couple slingers off this point, right? Mainly Skaven slave slingers, which, by the way, are a super cost-effective unit. I mean, you only need to get a couple hundred gold for them to pay for themselves. VOLKMAR going to be leading a charge in here, and yeah, his flagellants, they're fanatics for sure. They're all about that life. They're going to move in there to get bashed by storm vermin, as are the swordsmen, but mainly just trying to keep him off the objective. Unfortunately for me, though, I haven't gotten the point, and he does have a big points lead. 963 against 538 there, very scary. But now we're calling in one of the other really, really top tier. Man, that friggin' Eshin Ninja Star ability? That shit seems kind of broken. 1500 on that? Like, goddamn, dude. Like, that's insane. Yeah, really, really melting those guys. I mean, we should have probably focused this Eshin Sorcerer earlier because he's been doing a ton of work. But grenade launchers are very, very good. Excellent against Skaven, great against clan rats, and any of their infantry, really. Even against the armor troopers, it does well. Huge burning head going down there, by the way. Cooks a ton of this Skaven. Storm vermin are pretty much the only one holding. VOLKMAR approaching death's bed here. He's at 2,700 HP, Throt at 3,900, and I'm trying my best to escape with him, but the mass of Throt in tandem with the poison is very, very problematic. So state troopers do arrive at the high ground, but a beautiful counterattack by my opponent here. It's going to be plague monks. Plague monks are going to be very, very scary, and now we need to make a decision, and the decision is going to be calling in Empire Heavy Cav to try and deal with these plague monks here relatively soon. Swordsmen will do okay, but they're going to lose that fight pretty badly. So running is VOLKMAR the Grim, but he does not stand alone. He does get his free company militia, so they have their pistols drawn, and they're going to be firing some supporting fire for Sigmar, blasting those filthy rats and trying to get Thrat off. Thrat the rat. He's a brat, yes. But the pistol fire is going to be trying to push him back, which it does. He doesn't want to sit there with me in guard mode. I also have Hawk and long rifles back here, which are putting some fire support down. Sigmar Sun's holding on to this point. Now we have the double cap. So we're going to need a triple cap here, most likely with the kind of current state of the game. Unfortunately here it's looking a little bit dodgy, but the grenade launchers do arrive. They're able to push back some of the chaff units there, and now the grenades are going to be firing out big salvos into the face here of those plague monks. So plague monks at 7.7 HP. We do manage to push the plague monks back, and in the back I think he still has some shooting somewhere. Yeah, I believe Natty Boobos are still going. What a pain. I mean, those things have probably gotten an insane amount of value. 2,200 this game. Very, very well played there. So Empire Heavy Cav are called out, I believe. A big state trooper tied, knowing that I'm going to need to get all the objectives and I'm going to need bodies up there for it. So we are really, like I said, doing a full court press right now. In the middle, it's looking pretty good. The flagellants fighting to the last man. A couple Empire Knights need to be rallied back here. But as I said, the Death Runner... Oh, those are actually Death Runners. Oh, shit. Okay. And the Plague Monks were able to do effective work against my troopers, and the Grenade Launchers were forced back. This is why Throt is such a money character sometimes. You can use a Warlord on a Brood Horror as well. It's totally fine. But this like, archetype of character is pretty good against the Empire. Because, like, Throt can go fisticuffs with, Boris Todbringer, too. The big old burning head going down there does manage to cook the Plague Monks and also tickles the hide here of the Death Runners. Or was it the reverse here? Yeah, it looks like we just got 2 Plague Monks units. Death Runners in the tree line here. VOLKMAR the Grim and his grenade crew going to be trying to anchor the middle objective. But there are a lot of Skaven here, and VOLKMAR still is taking heavy firepower from those Jezzails back there. Call-ins for us going to be State Troopers, like I said. We do now have 1,000 gold, so most likely going to be calling in Empire Knights here at this point. And in the middle, we're in danger of losing it. Free Company Militia are not the most, stalwart infantry. They'll hold okay. Their base leadership, I think, is like 60 or something. It's really not great. VOLKMAR nearby, and this is also something that's kind of useful about him, is he does have Benediction, so he gives +8 leadership. So in these blob fights, he's going to allow your troopers to fight a lot longer. So his terror, really, really big here, manages to terror out some of the Rat Ogres. Meanwhile, up in the high ground, the State Trooper tide is easily going to get this point. They're going to be swarming, and there's not a whole lot that the Skaven Slave Slingers can do, but they have paid for themselves. All you need to do is get 200 value with those to have a cost-effective situation, which is great. Unfortunately, Throt able to break the back of my position there. The State Troopers do get terrified by the Brood Horror, and I completely understand that. I mean, imagine how terrifying it would be to be getting chased by a giant, mutated hairless rat beast here. But VOLKMAR rolling away on his scooter, 1,500 HP. He's going to need some milk here for sure. So the Empire Knights or Knights of the Blazing Sun do arrive, and they're going to be trying to save the Grim one as the Outriders with grenade launchers do arrive. And realizing that if he gets his point, I could certainly lose. It's such a razor close game here, and I can't afford that. So the grenade launchers are going to be rushing the point, even if it costs their life. And they will be pretty good at clearing off the last of these troops. And they are cav units, so they do provide 4 capture weight. So a tattered infantry unit isn't going to have as much as them. We also call in Sigmar's sons, so the brave heroes of Sigmar themselves, floppy hats, massive erect cod pieces, going to be pushing through the ranks and getting ready to battle these storm vermin. But more importantly, providing me with unbreakable capture weight. That's going to be very tough to get rid of. Knights of the Blazing Sun in a bit of a bad position, though, because the Weeping Blades from the Death Runners gets here. And I didn't notice the Death Runners. That's a really, really nice play. But VOLKMAR might be able to rout them off. Knights of the Blazing Sun do break the backs of the Rat Ogres on the charge. I actually like them more. I like Empire Knights and Knights of the Blazing Sun in this matchup. But you do see a little bit of a polarity shift. We do get the triple cap on him, and now he is not getting any points, and we're getting 3 tickets per second. Granted, we're kind of losing on a couple points, right? Here he's got some Ninja Wolf Rats, which are going to be very threatening. Up on the high ground point, the value's dead even. Very scary stuff. And he's got the advantage here. So I knew that this objective was going to be a loss. The swordsmen weren't going to have much of a chance, but we do throw some Empire Knights in there, which will be pretty good and take a long time for the rats to deal with. That armor is going to be very useful in bullying these Skaven infantry here. So you see the Plague Monks and Death Runners starting to take some casualties. Now, what does he have arriving here? It looks like it's going to be mostly Slingers, as well as the Eshin Sorcerer with the nasty little Ninja Star. Bottom objective, VOLKMAR the Grim rolls down there. Just one last desperate attempt. He's going out on his shield for Sigmar, and he routes off the Wolf Rats, which is exactly what we were looking for there. So getting rid of the capture weight on that objective. The Natty Boobos, or excuse me, the Natty Boobos Hawk Long Rifles, yes. They're shooting at the Wolf Rats force in the back. And VOLKMAR, I just wanted to get him in here to go after these Night Runners, try and get him off the point, while the grenade launchers put some supporting fire down and get some very good damage. So VOLKMAR's going, 465. He's rolling. Nice little downhill charge there with his chariot. Does get some respectable damage, 200 HP. And Throth the Unclean going to get the KO here for sure, having been a very solid bully this game. So he was able to take down the Grand Theogenist, 2,300 value on Throth, which is like the exact same that VOLKMAR had, if I'm not mistaken. So Knights of the Blazing Sun roll in, though, and the heavy cav of Sigmar get a nice engagement against Throth, which is big, and we're rapidly approaching a situation where I can win on one objective. So the game plan was call in Swordsman, Helm's Deep on objective 2, and just pray to Sigmar that we're going to be able to hold, because the rats are starting to get, good engagements everywhere. I mean, we're pretty much even on the battlefield, but he has more capture weight, right, which is very frightening. So he overwhelms me on the high ground point. The Empire Knights weren't up to the task of taking on that many units, which makes sense. Knights of the Black Rose would have been able to probably win that fight up there, but the Empire Knights were not. The Bright Wizard hanging here with 4 leadership. Sigmar Sons, thankfully, we have the Unbreakable unit down here. And the Empire Heavy Cav able to screen across and really, really push back the Night Runners. And they've just been saving my butt on this objective. A couple grenade launchers do rally back. Hawk and Long Rifle sitting at 800 value. And Throth the Unclean not looking great. And, one of the ironic downsides about Throth is that when he breaks, he does get a speed buff. And since he's already so fast, he runs off the battlefield very quickly. So that can sometimes happen with him, which is absolutely hilarious. On the middle point, though, a lot of rats are going to be arriving. We're at 1425 points. Swordsmen are on their way up. A lot of routing state troopers, hopefully for my sake, will rally, and we are going to be getting the heavy cab back here and some free company militia out in a moment. So really, really hoping they're going to be able to get there in time. But Throth the Unclean does break. That was massive. If he runs off the battlefield, it's going to be a big leadership issue for the Skaven. So the Empire Knights able to do the work of Sigmar there, as they're going to be rotating to the middle. And I know I can just consolidate my forces on the middle. Sigmar Sons, absolute heroes, pushing back these infantry, getting rid of some of the capture weight. Only 6 of these bad boys left. Certainly fighting the good fight, about 600 value. So in the ballpark of paying for themselves, which is pretty cool. More swordsmen do arrive. Grenade launchers melting down the Plague Monks. Free company militia are going to be arriving. And Throth the Unclean, I believe, did run off the battlefield, or at least is very, very close to it. He's going to be a non-factor here. So my units are suffering the leadership penalty of the Lord having died, but, the Empire is going to have a higher base leadership than the Skaven for sure, as we approach another 10 seconds here before victory. And that is going to be a hold for Sigmar, ladies and gentlemen. The big armored, barded war horses moving in, lancing down the rats, as the swordsmen and disciplined state troopers with grenade launcher fire in the back are able to push the Skaven off the point. What an epic ending there. That was a very, very cool game. In Empire vs. Skaven games, I don't know why, but they always have the making for epic matches. I think it's because they have similar infantry, so that really makes for a really, really interesting dynamic of the infantry fight being very close. So then the supporting elements really get to shine as the carry pieces. VOLKMAR did good. I actually liked him a lot that game. 2,400, the Burning Headcaster, 2,000 value on Burning Head, 1,700 on that Eshin Sorcerer. Pretty nuts. And Hawk and Long Rifles were good. I like them. 900. This one got 1,100. Not terrible. Blazing Sun Knights were MVPs for sure, and grenade launchers are very clutch in the late game as well. Looking at this Skaven army, it was pretty badass. I like the Plague Monks. They did eat the Burning Heads pretty hard, but in the late game when my magic ran out, they became much more threatening, and really cool Death Runner tech too. Not that they got a lot of value, but yeah, I like that. Not bad at all. If I had had a Sunmaker artillery piece in the back, they would have been able to creep back there and cause a lot of havoc. So GG, well played. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that classic Warhammer duel. We'll see you on the other side, and Sigmar protect us. Yeah, let's see.